Joining me today to discuss cybersecurity is David Van Dorselaer, Assistant Vice President of Industry Solutions for Manufacturing, Transportation, and Consumer Packaged Goods for AT&T Business. Welcome, David.
Thanks for having me.
As we both know, IoT is something new. It's not something new to manufacturing. Manufacturers have been doing it for a long time, but it's certainly changing. But we find that a lot of companies who already have made investments, they're still struggled to find the right balance between their desires for IoT benefits and maintaining secure plant networks. So do you think it's possible to expand the use of IoT without a good cybersecurity strategy in place?
That's a good question. Unfortunately not. You really have to build IoT solutions with security in mind first. You look at the number of applications that IoT solutions have access to, disparate systems that are across the network. You really have to have a handle on the cybersecurity infrastructure, which is inclusive of a overall cybersecurity plan with anti-malware, anti-phishing capabilities you look at from an organizational standpoint, but also being able to protect that IoT device, which makes it very complicated for enterprises to undertake, which is why it's really important to leverage a third party that has that kind of expertise to be able to look at things holistically.
Well, protection of sensitive data is certainly a key issue for a lot of manufacturers today. And I find they're worried about phishing attacks, they're worried about malware attacks, they're worried about all kinds of things like that. At the same time, many of them already have invested in things like antivirus software, anti-malware software, spam filters, and things like that. But is this adequate for them to be able to make them ready to invest in more IoT?
Well, manufacturers have access to all kinds of information that makes it interesting for hackers to look after. So think about the intellectual property, the R&D information that they have for future products. It makes it really interesting and exciting for hackers to go after them. So being able to have that infrastructure in place, things like the anti-malware, anti-phishing things are just the basics really that you need. But it's important to have a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy that's inclusive of training for employees. So being able to have employees understand, the threat behavior that's taking place, what to look for, and really have it in a concise way that they're able to view and train and understand the implications to the business. And I think overall that helps employees to become more accountable to being able to protect their company's assets as well.
I happened to read a 2018 AT&T Cybersecurity Report, and I noticed in there you had a statistic that 58% of leaders believe that their security systems need some work still. And it was particularly true with respect to companies that do their work in-house. Could you speak a little bit about why an in-house strategy isn't sufficient?
Well, I just talked about how IoT is exploding in the market, which is basically allowing new devices to have access to your network. So the environment's become much more complex than it was just 5 years ago. So an in-house model gives you a view of what's happening inside of your organization, but it doesn't really provide a wide-scale view of what's happening across the market. And I think that's really important today. So being able to have access to be able to integrate, orchestrate, and automate your overall security plans is important. And I think if you look at how we can help with being able to have that wide view of what's happening in the market with all of our information from access to security information that we have, we're able to help customers really tie an end-to-end security solution together.
Well, thank you, David. We've been talking today with David Van Dorselaer of AT&T Business. Thank you for watching.